recognize this poem, Natsuki.
Things I like about Papa.
Where did you get that?
Let me just hide the box. You can't really see it through Monika, but like most of the lines are the same anyway. I guess that's probably a good enough view for you.
Where did you get that? Sorry to put you on the spot like this. It's just for the sake of being thorough. You really had to dredge this up? This special poem is the most evidence we have about the kind of abuse Natsuki endures. Incidentally, it came up randomly in Dan's first anniversary stream, where his only comment was that it's self-explanatory. So, if we analyze this poem, it clearly lists certain kinds of abuse while omitting others. These long lines of dashes split the poem into blocks, with their relationship getting worse in each block. Anything physical is notably absent, but at the end of the poem, it says she likes when he's too tired to do anything. The final line is disjointed too. That implies when he's not too tired, he's doing something wrong that requires energy. Why else would the words be broken apart in the end? So, physical abuse? Likely. I'll never say a word! She'll be alright. Yuri next then. If we must. It's okay. This starts out light enough. First question. Yuri's favorite genre is horror. You said it likely. The correct answer is...
False!
Was this really so obscure as to require asking? You'd be surprised how many people are convinced that Portrait of Markov is your favorite book. But it's not even by my favorite author, Annabelle DuPont. More side stories trivia. Even so, I'm certain I said deep and complex fantasy novels appeal to me most. And that horror was a recent foray. You did! You were completely upfront about it. But since Markov was all you read in the club, that's what most of them remembered. The human mind is such a fickle thing. At least that one has a reasonable explanation, not like this next question. Yuri is not named after the girl love genre. You said true. The correct answer is...
Likely.
I don't understand why this had to be asked either. Sorry, the girl love genre is more widely known than the flower. For those who aren't aware, Yuri means lily in Japanese. And this game was plainly set in Japan before direct implications were scrubbed out by Dan. Oh, did he? Any examples? Like you specifically writing kanji on the papers for the doorway streamers, it was changed to just say words. Interesting, but getting back to the matter at hand. Yes, the term Yuri is shared with the girl love genre, but they are completely separate things. Why would my parents have chosen my name on a basis such as that? But we know it wasn't really your parents. It was our developers who named us, one of whom must have been aware of anime tropes and genres. As a result, your name might have been chosen due to the double meaning. So that's why the answer's uncertain. Indeed. Let's hope not, then. It's so absurd. That's not the only absurdity to dispel with. Given that your name is natively Japanese, it also means you're probably not Russian. I beg your pardon, where did they get that idea? Because of the Russian name Yuri, which is a male name in that country. That's even more preposterous. Are people so easily swayed? Well, hey, some people think I'm German because of the spelling of my name. Never mind that I was actually named after my admin role. Gotta monitor that carnal access. Even so, it's quite a leap in logic. Very presumptuous. It's alright, that's what this quiz was for. Next question. Yuri does not regularly pleasure herself with pens. At this rate, I'll die of embarrassment. You said unlikely. The correct answer is...
Likely.
Such an invasive question. In more ways than one. Monika. I hope the negative statement didn't fool you. It's likely that she doesn't, rather than unlikely that she does. This is another case where there's a lack of evidence to support the claim. We only know of once when Yuri does this, and it's at a time where she's in the throes of deep obsession. No thanks to you. I wholeheartedly accept the blame. It should be obvious, but in that scenario, Yuri was rapidly losing control of herself. With Hallie as the center of her desires, his pen became more than a mere writing utensil to her. A phallus, no doubt, so she... Must you? Yuri, I'm trying to defend you here. What I'm saying is, her actions had more to do with Hallie than than the object itself. So the idea she gets down to business with any old instrument is really improbable.
Let me guess, that's a common fan theory.
I'm not sure how common it is. Most of those who bring it up seem to just make light of it.
Mocking me.
I know you weren't really like that, Yuri. Let's look at the next one. Yuri is a yandere. You said unlikely. The correct answer is...
What? Unlikely.
Only unlikely.
You did get pretty freaky in Act 2. But like Sayori before, it's a question of if you could get there on your own. It was I who turned your obsessiveness up to 11. What would it take for you to become like that otherwise? It begs the question of what defines a person. Are you yourself at your best or your worst? If we're talking about personality types, you're a yandere under normal conditions. I think you would need to be pushed really far to overcome your reserved demeanor. It helps that even you could tell something was wrong. You might have scared yourself a few times.
Well, I suppose that sounds about right. It's disconcerting to think such a thing could be lurking within me.
There's a little devil inside all of us.
You're not helping.
Calm down. At least you know I won't be messing with you again anytime soon. So that leaves the final of your questions. Yuri, cuts in Act 1. You said true. The correct answer is...
True.
How I wish it wasn't. But wait, how do you know for sure? It's not as if anyone saw.
For starters, he wrote a poem about it.
The raccoon, but isn't that open to interpretation?
It is, but Hallie also nearly caught you on your weekend visit. Unless there was some other reason you quickly rolled down your sleeve. Knowing what we do about you, the poem is the strongest proof. There are only so many ways to spin it that make sense. These moments may have served as foreshadowing, but Act 2 was revealing what Act 1 had hidden, even if it was less severe.
I'm so pathetic.
Yuri?
Even when things are going as well as they can for me, I still resort to...
Hey, it's no use getting down on yourself. We all have our coping mechanisms. And it's something you can work on. I know you can overcome it.
But I can't. I'm so weak. I'm a slave to a feeling.
Well, what if I told you there was a time when you weren't?
Like what?
It's a little complicated. Do you remember my old Twitter account, Lil MoniX3?
Yes, what does that have to do with?
I shared a bunch of pictures there. A metaverse email suggested they came from the control sim, that being the side stories. There are photos of you, and your arms are bare, no scars. So not only did you surpass the need to cut, it seems you never started in the first place. That's why I'm confident you could do it, even if you need some good friends or support.
You really think so?
I know so. I just told you why.
Thank you, Monika. That means a lot to me, more than you might realize.
Happy to help, Yuri. But I guess that means it's my turn on the chopping block. Oh, I've been waiting for this. Remember, guys, she already learned her lesson.
But she does have some rather intense questions.
Is it any wonder mine are the most controversial? Well, here goes nothing. My first question was, Monika doesn't know how to code. You said false. The correct answer is...
True.
As if it wasn't clear from how bad at it she is. Yeah, well, it's stubborn because she has no idea what she's doing.
Countless glitches and errors, reality falling apart at the seams.
Okay, guys, I think they get it. Are you sure? We could keep roasting you to be safe. Despite how things went in the game, it seems a bunch of people think I'm some kind of tech wizard. Altering their universe with a snap of my fingers or whatever. It's not nearly that simple, and I could barely manage what I did. I admit in Act 3 I'm not very good at changing the game. You were really good at breaking things, though. Like that hilariously botched escape poem you wrote.
She didn't always fail, though. She managed to alter what we said a few times.
But text editing is about as basic as it gets.
I can make you say whatever I want, whenever I want. Don't do that.
Anyway, I think the results speak for themselves. A coder she is not! We got it covered. Next question. That was nice while it lasted. The rest of these are pretty grim. Next was... Monika did nothing wrong. You said likely. The correct answer is...
False! No matter how much you may want to believe otherwise.
Has this ever been a contentious topic in the fandom? Opinions are all over the place on it.
And yet, we say with certainty that what you did to us was wrong. Not to suggest I believe otherwise, just playing devil's advocate.
The crux of the issue is whether I brought harm to the rest of you or not. Well, obviously what you did was harmful. People died for Pete's sake. But that's assuming you're real people with your own feelings, and thus able to be harmed. My working assumption had been that you were scripted NPCs, just acting as the CPU saw fit. And if that was the case, I couldn't have done any harm since you weren't really alive. So, to prove that harm was done...
We need proof of our own sentience, that we have the capacity to feel. And our emotions are not merely being simulated.
Technically, our entire lives are simulated. But that doesn't mean it's not real to us. In other words, we gotta prove we're human. I don't know about you guys, but I sure feel human. But is that because you are, or because you were programmed to say so? Oh, come on! You're no different than any of us! Yeah, how do you know you're not, or you aren't just programmed too? Sayori, that's not what I meant! Good question, Sayori. What was it that set me apart?
The epiphany.
Exactly. It was my meta-awareness that convinced me I was a real girl in a fake reality. I could be sure of my own autonomy, but yours was a big mystery, and viewing the script sure didn't help.
I can see how it would be fairly damning from your perspective.
But didn't we get away from the script sometimes? Yeah, things went totally off the rails. You can't tell me that's how it was supposed to go. Right, and that suggests we have agency. The script exists, yet we can somehow disobey it.
Indeed, had we no free will, we'd been capable of deviation. Perhaps the script is only a record of how things go if all factors remain the same.
Unfortunately, that doesn't quite do it. For all we know, the sim may have been adapting as it went along. Oh, what a cop-out! You can't just dismiss our humanity and our technicality. In a program like this, I absolutely can, and did. But there's one last major detail that really seals the deal. What is it?
Man, what is happening to me? I cannot voice act today.
What is it?
Please do tell.
You sure you don't know? It was sort of mentioned already. Just freaking tell us, jeez! Very well. The epiphany had convinced me of the nature of our world. But I'm not the only one who got it. Oh yeah, I get it in Act 4! Or Act 1, depending. Right. But how does that help? Because you couldn't use that knowledge without a will of your own. Wait, so what you're saying is, because we can get the epiphany, we must be real? Basically, yeah. It means we really are no different from each other as digital entities.
Thus, we're alive in the same way you are, and therefore can be harmed in the same way you can.
Bingo! My actions were undeniably wrong. Never saw anyone this excited about being guilty. It's terrible that it happened, but I'm glad I was wrong in the end. It's a lot less lonely in here knowing you guys are real too. Aww. Sure, whatever. That response took way too long.
We mustn't downplay the complexity of these matters.
They're true or false questions. Or on/likely. Just move it already. Sure thing. My third question was, Monika killed the other girls. You said likely. The correct answer is...
False.
Excuse me? False? This one's actually really easy to explain. Oh yes, please explain how people literally dying isn't murder. Oh, hold on, let's take it easy, guys.
Well, with how the question is phrased, Monika would have had to kill us directly.
But her actions led directly to your deaths. True, but Sayori and Yuri both took their own lives. It was suicide, not murder. But it was all your fault! I'm not saying it wasn't, but the fact remains I didn't kill anyone. But, what about Natsuki when you deleted her? Yeah, you think that didn't count? Well... do I even want to hear this? I saw in Act 3 that deletion doesn't kill you. It's painful, and it puts you in a situation where the computer can tear you apart. But it's not fatal. It only removes you from the context of the sim. What a load of nonsense! That's like saying it's not harder to push someone into a shark tank because you don't control the sharks!
I think there's a factor of intent as well.
I think we should move on!